But we have roped in political sciences lecturer at the Northwest University, Dr. Sysman Motloung, to weigh in on the DA's media briefing. Doctor, thank you so much. A very good afternoon to you. So let's talk about, of course, that DA briefing. A very scathing John Steenhuisen on the part of President Cyril Ramaphosa on what he termed, and I quote, continued disrespect and disregard of them as the coalition partner of the GNU.
Alicia, thanks for having me. And I think what we see in what Mr. Steenhuisen is saying is the continued effort by the Democratic Alliance to exert its influence on the GNU. And what they are doing is to stifle the president. It's like the president has to have their permission before he can do and fulfill any presidential function. It's basically a token president that they want. They want him to consult with them, have their permission. And I think that's a difficult thing to pursue in a political environment where the functions of a president, I would say, are holy. So you are led by an ANC political party. This is an ANC-led coalition, but they so much try to enforce their authority over the ANC.
You know, very interesting that you say that, Doctor, because he also says he wrote to the president yesterday to ask him for a reset to the relationship, not walking out of the GNU. And also he says he has told the president that they will be invoking that clause 19 of their statement of intent. Remember, Doctor, this was that very contentious clause at the beginning of the GNU as differing views of what it actually meant. So what does this then in essence mean for the GNU as well as its partners?
Yeah, it means the relationship and agreements are not static. There will always be some shifting goalposts there and there, and each political party will continue to wrestle for more influence. And I think here, more than other parties in the GNU, the Democratic Alliance is really adamant on increasing its influence. And calling it for a reset is to reconfigure those terms of collaboration. I think the GNU has also weakened DA's resolution to be an activist and proper opposition. So they are hamstrung in a sense. You make strong assertions, but you really cannot withdraw from the GNU. So you use these technical concepts of resetting a relationship instead of exiting from it. And this is something they will not do. I think they don't have the guts to say, we give up on this GNU, it doesn't stand for us, but they want to sway that political influence through whatever pressure they can exert on the ANC. If the ANC could be found slipping, it may concede to some significant demands from the DA.
You know, what I found interesting, Doctor, is that when Minister McPherson actually took to the podium, he emphatically started by saying he is in government to serve his particular party. And then he strongly outlined the issue with the issue of compensation and how that particular process is currently outlined in the bill as being unconstitutional, and that it's two contradicting policies that he has an issue with, which he finds cannot coexist. Is this a fair assessment, do you think, on his part? What do you make of that particular contention, Doctor?
It's difficult for me to say absolutely this is fair or unfair, but I say we bring subjectivities when we have to deal with the political question of land. And to say what is fair depends on your point of view. What I can say is that the DA somehow tries to pin the bill or the act now on property rights, that it may undermine property rights. But the DA is not being honest with its electorate itself to say the USA, UK, Australia have similar positions on taking property for public use. And the principle of fair compensation is based to some extent on market value. So you cannot, when you hold a piece of land that is worth 2 million, demand 50 million for it. I think that is what has been frustrating government over time. You cannot hold land and say you're not selling, but you are not using that land. I think Section 12 of the Act now talks about something like that. You have a land, but you are not using it. But it should benefit the public. This is what they want to protect, maybe people who make crazy demands in terms of compensation, but don't consider what the market value of that is. So I think this is what mainly they want to do, to protect those electorates who are misusing and taking advantage of the process in this regard.
Right.
So I would like to see this going to court finally being resolved, but I think it's a very good direction we are taking currently.
Doctor, thank you so much for your input this afternoon. That is Dr. Sysman Motloung, the political analyst, reacting to the DA media briefing in response to the expropriation bill.